Hey guys, what's up? It's Carmela Maniac. If you're new to my channel, sit down, chill, and hang out with me for a bit, because today I'm going to be breaking down and reviewing "TRAVELIN Soldier," which is a new single from Cody Johnson. Now, I'd like to put a disclaimer on basically all of my content before we start here, and say that I never support any of the artists that I ever talk about on this channel. I am literally here just to comment on their music and nothing else. Now, this song by Cody Johnson is at the top of the charts right now, and that's basically the only reason I'm doing this song, to basically contribute my opinion on this pretty popular song, and that's it.
I cried, never gonna hold the hand of another guy.
Now, I'd never heard of Cody Johnson before, but he is an American country singer from Sebastopol, Texas. Now, this song, as you probably already know, is technically a cover. The original "TRAVELIN Soldier" song was recorded by Bruce Robison in 1996. This song has been covered multiple times, notably by obviously Cody Johnson and also the then called Dixie Chicks, who are now called the Chicks. Now, the Chicks did their cover of the song in 2002 and it became a hit. Now, as far as Cody's history with this song, he recorded an acoustic version of "TRAVELIN Soldier" back in 2020. This version wasn't officially released, but still became very popular regardless. So the song became very heavily requested. So it's a very pleasant surprise to Cody's fans that he has officially released the studio version of his cover of "TRAVELIN Soldier." So now let's talk about the most important part of the song, in my opinion, which is how the song sounds. Now, Cody did a good job of adapting this song to a newer rendition of it while still keeping some things from the older versions of the song. One thing he kept from the older versions, but on a more subtler level, are the beautiful backup harmony singers that usually sing with Cody in the choruses. They are much more quieter than the older versions in this song, but they are still there and still very pretty. I think the backup harmony singers are a gorgeous nod to the older versions of the song.
Our love will never end, waiting for the soldier to come back again.
And the melody of the chorus, which the harmonies back up, is really breathtaking and catchy in a good way. While some of that I can credit to Cody because his voice is actually singing this melody and his voice is very smooth, I can't give all the credit to him as he did not actually write the song. But the melody is just so pretty that it's just a little bit hard to mess it up. But like I said, Cody's vocals are super smooth, which is partly due to production and mixing techniques, but also has to do with how he is as a singer. His voice is very clean and even and very perfect. Doesn't have any rough qualities to it at all. However, he does utilize some vocal growling in some parts of the song to give it more texture and make it stand out more.
Love will never end, waiting for the soldier to come back again.
But he does move over the notes in this song with velvety ease, and it makes him just very easy to listen to and enjoy. One of the things that really stood out to me in this song, and it's a thing that's not really common I think in these types of songs, is the snare drum that is played basically throughout the entire song. And the snare drum is played the majority of the time in what I would like to call the kind of military style or marching band style. And it's obviously supposed to be very patriotic, and it does a great job of portraying that and getting the message across. And the marching band snare drum is a really great twist that is added to this song to really make it stand out from the other versions of it. The snare drum in this version makes it almost a completely new song compared to its predecessors, so it definitely stands out among the rest. And this addition was like the perfect way to make it a new version and set it apart from its predecessors. Now, talking about instruments, it does feel as though these other supporting melodical instruments like the violin and the mandolin were literally just supporting parts and did not have much of their own character at all. Like the violin or the fiddle was really played down and honestly very hard to notice. The same can be said about the mandolin parts. And in both of these situations, it's okay, but they just kind of feel a little bit too tame to me. And And I feel like they could have added a little bit more emotion and passion to the song if they were maybe even just a little bit louder or just had more of their own character, while also still not being the focus of the song. They were just too clean and empty feeling for me. Like I said, they could have filled up a little bit more space, but they didn't.
So the letter.
And in terms of the other instruments, the steel guitar played its part perfectly along with the other guitar solo towards the end of the song, along with the banjo thing that plays in the beginning. But like I said, the violin and mandolin could have had bigger parts in this, or just more characterized parts in this. Now, when I was listening to this song, I was trying really hard not to be biased against it, because I myself am a fan of more older country, more classic country, and even that was a big step for me. The original song by Bruce Robison was the perfect example of the older country that I'm talking about, and it's a sound that I really enjoy. Even the Chicks version was a version that I enjoyed a lot as well. But Cody did a great job of adapting this classic song, like I said earlier, into a newer format, making it more accessible to the newer generations. And he's updating it, and time goes on and the world evolves, so I really cannot get mad at him for that. But in my personal opinion, I do like the Bruce Robison and the Chicks version just a little bit better. But again, that is just personal preference, and that's okay. And how I said earlier, he made this song into a newer version of itself, a more current version of itself, a more modern version of itself. He made it into a sound that is basically the pinnacle of what all current and modern country sounds like. He sounds like he's the ambassador of this music. And again, I'm trying not to be biased, so I don't want to say it's a bad thing. It's just a newer version of something that maybe I don't understand. I did notice though that the more time I spent listening to this song, the more I understood it, and the more I enjoyed the song. So for you, if there's a genre that you just absolutely do not like, take a moment, if you care, take a moment, sit down and listen to the music and try to understand it. And I guarantee you, it will become just a tiny bit more enjoyable, possibly. As long as we're talking about like actual music here and not like actual bad music. And I'm not saying that any specific genres anywhere are bad. I'm talking about like actually badly produced music, like parody music or something like that. Now, like I said, I can obviously hear the appeal that this song has, but I also understand that a big part of the appeal that this song has to do with the lyrics and the meaning behind the song, which is something that we do not talk about here on this channel. We do not talk about it here on this channel. Absolutely not. So, but because of this, it feels like the musicality of the song was just a teeny tiny teensy bit left behind here. And that's okay, because I understand that a big part of songs sometimes are the actual words, but we're just not going to talk about it here. We're just going to ignore that, because all I hear are the notes. I never hear the words. So this is a pretty song, and a good adaptation of the classic versions of it. I loved the harmonies in the choruses, which were a nod to the older versions. The snare drum played its part very prominently and filled the role perfectly, and put a nice and perfectly calculated twist on this song to give it a feel of patriotism. I do feel as though the rest of the instruments, like I said before, were left behind a bit. And if like this song was my thing, it's a good song. And I don't want to say it's basic, because the snare drum really fights that basic feeling. If it didn't have the snare drum, I feel like it would be just a little bit basic. But that's okay, because basic, simple songs really get inside your head and you want to sing them, and they're pretty. So that's a win. So I'm going to give this song an 8 out of 10 on the millimeter, because it is a good song and it sounds pretty. It's just like not absolutely amazing though. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this review, or even if you didn't, please consider subscribing to the channel. Tell me what you guys thought of Traveling Soldier, a cover by Cody Johnson, in the comments below. Keep listening, and I'll talk to you guys later. Recorded by Bruce Sebastopol. Today's drink of choice, Monster. If you want to sponsor me, I would actually die.